and with a Alois, the Python transformed into a handsome man. He stood tall, immaculate, and elegant, clad in a very expensive, dark suit. Ashi's shoes gleamed. Ashi's watch shone like eyes. Ashi's hair was perfectly groomed, and his face looked as if it were taken straight out of a magazine. In his right hand, a carrière black suitcase that appeared heavy and important. The man smiled for no apparent reason, imperturbed and calm, the kind of smile that conseillait secret. Without a backward glance at the tree, he walked directly out of the forest. By the roadside, nestled near thick bush, a black Mercedes was silently parked. ET's bodywork shone like a mirror. ET's headlight flickered once, as if acknowledging him. He opened the driver's door and settled inside. The engine started with a low hum. He adjusted his suit, placed the suitcase on the passenger seat, and drove onto the road like someone who already knew his destination. The city's nightlife was bright and loud. Music filled the air. Horn, laughter, shout, dancing. Everything blended like fire and smoke. The Mercedes moved smoothly through the busy streets and stopped in front of a heavily frequented nightclub. Blue and red lights flashed above the entrance. He stepped out of car. People immediately turned to look at him. No one knew him, but the way he dressed, the way he walked, and the luxury car he drove suggested he was not a poor man. He pushed open the club door. A wave of water and loud music welcomed him. People were dancing, drinking, shooting, and completely lost in the moment. The DJ played a hit song. The crowd was wild. The alluring stranger walked straight toward an empty tab in a corner and sat down quietly. He placed the suitcase next to him. No one knew who he was, but almost everyone cast furtive glances his way, especially because he looked too rich, too calm, too mysterious. Then, something caught his attention. A young girl was dancing on the stage. She moved with confidence, like someone who had danced all her life. Her hair bounced, her smile was radiant, and her steps were precise. The club lights made her look like a luminous creature. Her name was Julia. Everyone in the club knew her. She was energetic, pretty, and always the center of attention. But that night, she had no idea her life was about to change forever. The stranger reached for his suitcase. The moment he opened it, the bright club lights illuminated the inside, and something incredible happened. The suitcase was filled with money. Wad upon wad of neatly stacked bills from one end to the other. People near the table gasped. One girl exclaimed, "My God!" Another man froze and rubbed his eyes to make sure he wasn't dreaming. No one knew him. No one knew where he came from. No one knew why he was carrying so much money. But he didn't take care. He took two thick wads of cash and headed towards Julia. The DJ yelled into the microphone that they had a big shot in the house tonight. Julia herself stopped dead when she saw the handsome stranger approaching. Before she could say a word, the man began to shower her with bills. Money flew through there like leaves in a storm. People screamed in amazement. Phone came out. Video started. Everyone looked confused. Who is he? Where did this money come from? Ah, that is not normal money, the DJ shouted. Julia's mood dropped upon. She smiled widely and continued to dance while he kept covering her in bills. Finally, the stranger returned to his seat with some calm smile on his face. He slowly closed the suitcase. Julia didn't hesitate to way. She jumped off the stage and ran toward him. She reached his table, pulled up a chair, and sat down directly across from him. "I've never seen you here before," she said, her voice trembling with excitement and the afterglow of her dance. The man looked at her with a gentle smile. "My name is Doha." Julia slowly nodded. There was something strange about him, but she loved the attention, and most of all, she loved the money. Then he asked the question no one expected. "Will you marry me?" Julia blinked very quickly. She looked like someone who had just heard incredible news. "We just met," she said, looking nervously. "You don't even know me." "It does te mate," Doha replied softly. "Some things are meant to be." Julia glanced at the suitcase beside him, which held a great deal of money. She swallowed hard. Then Doha opened a small box. Inside was a diamond ring, a real one. It shone as if it contained a piece of the sun. Doha knelt down. People screamed. The lights from their phone focused on them. Some women held their head. Men exclaimed in confusion. Julia grabbed the ring with both hands, her mouth wide open. It's a diamond, she cried. Doa simply nodded once. Yes, it is. She looked at him again, then at the ring, then at the suitcase full of money, then back at him. Yes, he wants to marry you, she said, practically jumping. The crowd cheered. People applauded. The DJ bellowed, Now that is real love. Doa stood up, and Julia embrassed him with excitement. She smelled his perfume and shivered all over. A few minutes later, Doa picked up his suitcase. You have to go, he said calmly. Julia quickly grabbed her purse and stood up to follow him. But Doa stopped her. Don't worry, we'll see each other tomorrow. Right here, same place. Julia frowned slightly. You were leaving alone. He gently touched her cheek. Tomorrow? He repeated with a soft smile. She nodded, too confused. Doa walked out of the club, carrying the suitcase. Everyone watched him leave. Some followed him outside to see where he was going. But he got into his Mercedes and drove away before anyone could say a word. He drove to Samaria he had come from. He parked near the bush, opened the door, and got out silently. As soon as his feet touched the ground, his body began to twist. As she uncurled, his leg bent, his skin changed, he fell to the ground, and within seconds, he transformed back into a python. The large golden snake slithered into the darkness of the forest with the same calmness as before. Ashi's suitcase vanished with him. The forest swallowed him whole. But something strange was happening deep within the woods. Something Julia didn't know, and tomorrow arrived quickly. Julia didn't wait for the club music to end. She didn't take time to rest. She didn't even take time to breathe. She sped home like someone chased by the wind. Her heart beat fast, not from fear, but from excitement. She held her diamond ring tightly to ensure it wouldn't fall off. She also clutched her small purse, the purse that contained wad of bill, the money the mystery man, Doa had given her. When she arrived home, she slammed the door to her room so hard it hit the wall. Her two friends, Sonia and Shem, who were sitting on the bed, jumped up in terror. Julia, what is wrong? Sonia yelled, clutching her chest. But Julia didn't answer. She held out her hand, fingers spread, and showed them the sparkling diamond ring. Girls, look, she cried out, full of joy. The ring glittered like a small star on her finger. Sonia's eyes widened as if they would pop out of their socket. Well, is that a real diamond? Sonia asked, moving closer. Julia smiled proudly and nodded quickly. Yes, a real diamond. Shem swallowed. Where did it come from? Oh my God. Julia rolled her eyes dramatically. Relax. He didn't steal it, she said. He made a big shot today. A billionaire. Sonia and Shem looked at each other in confusion. Julia then revealed her purse and began pulling out wad of cash, dropping them as she were unpacking cloth. The wad kept coming out. Sonia and Shem froze. They didn't blink. They didn't move. They didn't breathe. What? What is all this? Shem whispered. Money. Julia screamed. He gave me all this money, and he proposed to me with this ring. Sonia slowly shook her head. Julia, are you sure you didn't go stealing? He didn't steal anything. Julia retorted sharply. She tossed her long braid and sat down proudly on the bed. He told you to come to the club with me today, but you refused. Now, look, I'm not giving you a cent. Sonia, he said loudly. Shem sat up straight. Calm down, Shem said softly. We're happy for you, but you don't think this is normal. Julia frowned. What do you mean? It's too sudden, Shem continued. How well do you know him? Who is he? Where does he come from? Where did all that money come from? As soon as she finished speaking, Sonia and Julia yelled at her together. Shut up. Sonia said, You don't know anything. Julia added. Shem fell silent, but she still looked worried. Julia hugged the diamond ring to her chest, smiling like someone who had just won the lottery. I'm going to marry him, she whispered to herself. My life has changed. But Shem looked away. Something inside her didn't feel right. Something about Doa didn't seem normal. The next night arrived quickly. Deep in the forest, under the same large tree, something moved again. The leaf trembled. The air grew silent. A long piton emerged from the tree root. ET's golden skull shone brighter than ever. ET's eyes glowed like two small lamps. Once again, ET's body twisted. ET's skin cracked. ET's form stretched, and slowly, the piton transformed back into the handsome man named Doa. That night, he wore another expensive suit. This time, his outfit had a touch of gold. Even his new briefcase glittered like a treasure. He smiled to himself and headed towards the same road where his Mercedes awaited. He got into the car and drove straight to the nightclub. Julia was already outside with her friends, beautifully dressed. She looked left and right, waiting. It's him! It's him! She suddenly cried upon seeing the Mercedes. As soon as Doa parked and got out, Julia ran toward him like a child to terre à terre. She jumped on him, hugging him tightly. But when her skin touched his, she recoiled. Well, why is your body so cold? She asked, pulling back slightly. Doa smiled calmly. Oh, it's the air conditioning in the car. He liked it very cold. Julia didn't suspect a thing. She looked and did him again. Sonia and Shem also greeted him with excitement. Welcome, sir, Sonia said, almost bowing. Shem also greeted him with a handshake, but her eyes remained fixed on him with hidden fear. The coldness she had felt in his handshake was not normal. When they entered the club, the people who had seen him the day before began to shoot. Thus, big shot, man of the night, show us again. Fun were already out. People wanted another show. Doa did smile. He merely nodded slightly and walked in with Julia proudly hanging onto his arm. Julia's friends couldn't help but stare at him as if he were a celebrity. As they sat down, Doa leaned back, looked Julia in the eyes, and spoke calmly. "I want to visit your parents tomorrow." Julia screamed. Sonia screamed. Shem screamed too. Her cry was small and worried. They jumped and danced around like children. Julia kissed Doa's cheek. "Ah, are you serious? Do you really want to marry me?" she cried. Doa only smiled in an odd, cautious way, but in a corner of the club, two men were watching them. They sat in the shadow, wearing black coats. Smoke drifted around them as they silently pulled a cigarette. One of them was Denny, Julia's ex-boyfriend. Ashi's eyes were sharp with jealousy, and his one next to him kept whispering angrily, "Look at her! She followed another man." Denny kept staring at Doa with a look burning with coldness. "There's something wrong with that man," Denny said, but Doa was still looking in their direction. He didn't even seem to notice them. After a moment, Doa got up. "Let's go," he said. Julia immediately grabbed her purse. Sonia and Shem hurried after them. Doa walked out of the club, opened his car door, and motioned for them to get in. "I want to show you something." The girls got into the car. I drove. The road became quieter and more beautiful. Street lights shone softly. Luxurious houses lined the road. Flowers grew around tall fences. Julia's mouth dropped open. "Where are we?" she asked. Doa stopped in front of a magnificent duplex. The house looked new and expensive, with bright lights, clean walls, and a small front garden. He got out and pointed to it. "I bought this house," he said softly. "And it's in your name, Julia." Julia screamed so loud that even the front door shook. "Oh my God!" she cried. She ran to him and hugged him tightly. She even lifted her leg in excitement. Sonia and Shem applauded, shaking their head in disbelief. Shem whispered to Sonia, "It's too much, too fast, too strange." But Julia heard nothing. She danced around the property, touching the walls, opening and closing the door, and looking like a child. She jumped on Doa again, wrapping her arms around his neck. "I love you. I love you," she shouted. Doa held her gently, but his smile was not a normal smile. It was the smile of someone eating something huge, something dangerous, something Julia was not ready to face. And deep within the forest, the great tree trembled slightly as if something bigger was waking up. Something Doa knew, something Julia was not ready to face. The following week was like a dream for Julia. As soon as Doa said he wanted to marry her, everything happened quickly, too quickly, but no one cared. Doa had money, more than enough money, and in the eyes of money, money was more important than question. Julia's parents were the happiest. Her father kept smiling from morning till night. Her mother walked around the yard, boasting to the neighbor. "My daughter is marrying a rich man," she would tell anyone who would listen. "A billionaire. God has performed a miracle." Her friends, Sonia and Shem, helped with every preparation. Sonia was proud to walk around with a friend who had suddenly become an important woman. Shem, however, still had a funny feeling about the whole thing, but she kept silent. The wedding day arrived. It was grand. It was loud. It was colorful. Expensive decoration everywhere. Luxury cars lined up outside. People from near and far gathered. Musicians sang, camera flashed. The food was plentiful. Julia wore a magnificent wedding dress that sparkled like fresh snow. Doa stood beside her, dressed in white and gold. Achilles' smile never left his face, but something was strange. Very strange. No member of Doa's family attended the ceremony. Not his father, not his mother, not a brother, not a sister, not even a distant relative. People whispered, where is his family? How can such a rich man come alone? Maybe they live abroad, maybe they couldn't travel. But after a glance at all the money spent that day, everyone forgot their question. Some even said, what good is his family when he shares so much money? No one questioned where he came from. No one demanded his past. No one checked his story. They were too busy eating, dancing, taking pictures, and enjoying the show. Even Julia didn't take care. Love and money had blinded her eyes. When the wedding ended, Julia and Doa moved into their new and beautiful duplex. Julia's pride swelled like a balloon. Everywhere she went, people looked at her. She walked with such confidence that even her shadow seemed true. She smiled and told her friends, Here I am now an important woman. My husband is a billionaire. Whatever he wants, he will buy for me. But deep down, she didn't know the truth about the man she had married. At first, the marriage seemed perfect. Doa bought her expensive clothes. He bought her jewelry. He filled the house with gifts. He gave her money. He treated her gently. But one strange thing kept happening. Every night, Doa disappeared. He never slept at home. Julia would get ready for bed, enter the room, and ask, Honey, aren't you sleeping yet? And he would reply, No, you have to go to Ghana tonight. At first, she was shocked. Ghana every night? Why Ghana? And Doa would answer calmly, You have a factory there. You have to check on it every night. I'll be back tomorrow morning. In her excitement and gullibility, Julia accepted it. She didn't ask what kind of factory he owned. She didn't ask for the name. She didn't ask for any information. She didn't ask how he traveled to Ghana and back in just a few hours. She simply believed everything he said because the money was too important for her to think clearly. When he left each night, she smiled and told herself, My husband is a hard-working billionaire. Let him work. He'll enjoy the money. But Julia didn't know that Doa was going to Ghana. He was returning to the forest, to the large tree, to his true form. Every night, under the moonlight, he transformed into the python and slithered into the shadow of the forest. Julia had no idea until one night. It was about 11 du soir. Julia was in the bathroom of their bedroom. She held a large mirror in her hand, doing her skincare routine. The bathroom light was bright. The mirror reflected everything clearly. She was humming softly when she heard the door open. Honey, is that you? She asked. There was no answer. She continued applying her cream. Then she raised the mirror to check her face. What she saw behind her petrified her. Her heart stopped for a moment. In the mirror, behind her, stood Doa, who wanted to tell her he was leaving, but he was normal. From the waist down, the mirror showed a long, thick, golden python tail, glowing, moving slowly as if it were alive. Julia stared at it, shocked, eyes wide, mouth open, but no sound came out. Her arm began to tremble so hard that she dropped the mirror. She slowly turned around. Doa stood there. Is everything all right? He asked, but he looked perfectly normal. No tail, no skull, no serpent appearance, just the handsome face she had married. Darling, he said in a calm voice. Julia backed away, invading her entire body. He saw something in the mirror. She stammered, Maybe it's my imagination. I'm sure it was. Doa slowly blinked. Achilles' calm smile was gone for the first time. Achilles' eyes became sharp. And what was it? He said without adding a word. He walked out and closed the bathroom door, turned around, and vanished. Not by walking, not by running, not by jumping. He simply faded away if he had stepped into a shadow, and the shadow had swallowed him. Julia pressed her back against the bathroom wall, breathing heavily. Her leg felt weak. Her whole body was shaking. That night, she couldn't sleep. She passed the room, checking the other mirror in the bedroom again and again. Afraid to look, afraid not to look. Her heart kept beating with one question. Was it my imagination? Morning arrived, and Doa returned as if nothing had happened. He wore another expensive suit, calm and gentle. Good morning, my love, he said, smiling. Julia's breast trembled. The image of the tale refused to leave her mind. She wanted to ask him about it, but she remained silent. Doa gently touched her cheek. "Why do you look scared?" he asked. Julia forced a smile. He didn't sleep well. Doa nodded. "It's nothing. Get ready. We are going somewhere tonight." "Where?" she whispered. "You'll see." Achille's smile was gentle, but something in his eyes seemed sharper than before. Almost like he knew she had seen something and was waiting. Julia's life had changed, but she didn't know if it was for the better or for something far more dangerous. And somewhere, deep within the forest, the great tree moved again as something bigger was waking up. Something Doak knew. Something Julia was not ready to face. "Do you want me to write the next part of the story, or do you have another request?"